Well, good morning, Reach Church. Good to see each of you this morning. Excited for what we have today as we wrap up our series, First Things First. This is the last message in that series, and I brought a special friend for it. So as I introduce him, I would love our ushers just to walk down the aisles. They have Bibles in their hands, so if you don't have a Bible in your hand, let them know. Just slip your hand up where you're at. Let them know you don't have one. They'll be happy to give one to you. That is our gift to you. Take that home, make the most of it, and follow along today. You're going to be hearing some great things, and I believe God's going to change some lives and do some big things in our hearts and our lives this morning. So let me introduce you to my friend Chris. Chris is going to bring the Word of God today. He's a friend of mine. We go way back, several years now. I worked for his brother in a church in West Texas. He was the XP there, and I met Chris kind of that way. Chris is doing big things, working for Chick-fil-A. Got a small group that's basically a giant church, and we don't know what to call it. And he continues to serve in the church and do big things. So really excited that we could snatch him up this weekend and bring him up this way to share the Word of God with you. I'll let him share anything else about himself he wants to share because some of it may be embarrassing. Who knows? But really excited to have him bring the Word of God today. So, Chris, glad to have you, man.
Thank you, brother. Awesome. Thank you, Shay. Well, good morning. Ooh. It's bold to clap before I preach. You don't know if I'm good yet. So I'm just kidding. Hey, I'm excited to be with you guys. It is cold up here. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia right now, just west of Atlanta in Douglasville. We're really not known for anything outside of Stranger Things. If you don't watch Stranger Things, you're like, what's that? Or just weird things? Like, nope, it's a show. So just excited to be with you guys and not there today as it's cold with no snow and it is awful. It snowed yesterday. We got out before the world shut down in Atlanta. You know, if we get a dusting, we shut down for a couple of weeks. And so I was telling somebody this morning, we closed schools for 2 days last week in anticipation of an ice storm that might have come but didn't. And they just preemptively shut down all of Atlanta, which is crazy. I'm from Baltimore originally. We see a foot of snow, we're like, cool, school's on time. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's a different world I live in now, but I love it. I have an awesome family. They could not travel up here with me, but we do. I think I have a picture of them. There they are. That's them. This is my awesome family. It's my wife, Renee, in the center. My oldest son, who's now taller than me, which is embarrassing, but he's fine. He's 14. My middle child, who's kind of like a classic middle child, kind of hidden back in the corner. That's her. That's Allie. And then our little surprise baby, 4-year-old little Adeline, just turned 4. Didn't plan for, but God did. And so we're fun. And she's incredible. A ball of joy and all of the things that go along with having a 4-year-old are true of her. I love it. So that's my family. They're incredible. I love them deeply. I miss them. I'm excited to get back to them tonight. But for today, let me just address kind of one big elephant in the room, if that's okay. I am aware that I do not have shoes on, and yes, I can afford shoes. They're actually backstage. But I want to address why I do that. So in 2004, I felt the call into ministry full time. I knew that God had called me to serve the church in some way, shape, or form. And so when I felt called to ministry, I'd been really influenced by a guy named Wade Morris, and Wade was known as the barefoot preacher. When I gave my life to Jesus, Wade was preaching that night, and he preached without shoes on. And it really rattled me. I was like, man, why isn't I going to have shoes on? This is an explanation, and it impacted me, and so I still do it to this day, 22 now years later. In Joshua chapter 5, Exodus chapter 3, Moses and Joshua have this encounter with God. And when they have this encounter with God, God tells them to take off their shoes because the ground on which they're standing on is holy ground. Now, what's interesting to me is you could go now over to Israel and stand where Joshua stood and stand where Moses stood, be on the same dirt. So it wasn't the dirt that was different. What was different was that the presence of God was there. And so whether I'm here on stage preaching, whether I'm at home praying, whether I'm here worshiping, I just remove my shoes in anticipation and belief that God is here, that he is present, that he has shown up. And so for me, it's just a sign of reverence and respect that God is here. Now, it is not an expectation of you, all right? For some of you, please don't. But we're not ready for it. But it is of me. So front row, I'm sorry. I promise I cleaned them this morning. We're good. All of that to be said, let me just kind of jump in. We're going to be in John chapter 13 this morning. John chapter 13, as we wrap up this series together, I'm excited to kind of bring this to conclusion as we bring an end to this First Things First series. I will say I've been watching you guys this year. I told Pastor Shay I watched the first message of the year, and I'm a little sad. He asked, how many of you have goals for this year? How many of you guys have then? Nobody responded. So if nothing else, hopefully this month of teaching has spurred you on to set just one goal. At Chick-fil-A, we tell our team our goal is to be 1% better every single day. Just 1% better. You don't have to be 100%, just 1%. What's one thing you can do to be better every single day? And I think today, hopefully I can challenge you to do just that exact thing. John chapter 13 is an incredible opportunity for us to learn that. Now, I married my wife in 2010. This year is 16 years, which is incredible. And our proposal story is a fun one. I told my wife the Sunday before I proposed to her that I wasn't sure if I was going to marry her or not. It wasn't because I was actually not sure. I actually was just trying to throw her off the scent. I didn't want her to know that I was planning to propose to her. Guys, don't do that. Bad option. She still to this day, and she's watching, still to this day goes, I wish you would have never, ever, so don't do that. But I did. I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll tell her I'm not sure, and then she'll never know that I'm about to propose to her. So I tell her that on Sunday. On Monday, I drive up, and I meet with her mom and her dad to ask if I was allowed to marry their daughter. And of course, they both said, absolutely, yes, you can. And so I left their house, and I came down, and my master plan was incredible. At 6:30 p.m. on Saturday, I was going to receive a call from my boss. And my boss was going to tell me that he needed me to come in to help him. I worked at a kids camp at the time. And so he was going to call me to come up there and help him fix something at the kids camp. And so I was like, okay, so you're going to call me at 6:30 and then we're going to have to drive up there. Well, that's where my wife and I first met, was at this kids camp. And so my brother and my best friend had gone before us and set up the cabin where she used to stay as a kids counselor, and had set it up with roses and put out a little picture book and all these little like candles, and it was going to be really cute, really intimate. So we're sitting at Red Lobster because my wife likes Cheddar Bay biscuits a whole lot. And so we go there and we're eating, and it's 6:30, and I'm like, okay, he hasn't called yet. And then it's 6:45, I'm like, and I'm kind of like, when you're thinking about other things and you can't really focus on who's in front of you. And she's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm great. I'm great. I'm doing great. And so finally, 7 o'clock, he calls me and he goes, hey man, sorry, I got caught up doing something else. Did you still need me to call you? I go, yeah, you're pretty integral to the story, buddy. I don't go anywhere without you. And so I didn't say that part because she was sitting across from me. I go, you need me to come to camp? Got it. He goes, well, okay, cool. Hung up the phone. We get in the car. We drive up, and she's like mad. Why are we doing this? It's our date night. Why are you? I go, it's fine, babe, it's fine. We got this. We get up to the camp, and she walks into the cabin where she was a counselor for many years, and she walks in, and it's beautiful. It's all laid out. She walks to the very front. There's a little chair, and on that chair is a little book just like this, a little kind of photo book. It's like page 1, like picture, and that little writing. Like, this is where we first met. Page 2. This is where our first date, our first kiss, our first dance, our everything. I mean, it is a masterpiece. She has her back to me. She's reading through this book. And in the moment, I get to a knee. I have the ring out. Goal is she's going to get to that last page where it says, this is the place I proposed to you. And you said yes. And she turns around. I'm on a knee, and I've got the ring out. And word for word, no lie, it's video recorded. She goes, what is happening? I go, I want you to marry me. She goes, and then that became a really fun opportunity for us to fight. So that went well. She said yes, so we're fine. We've had 3 kids, so she's locked in now. But I say that because, especially as like, if you're a good gift giver, if you're a good like romantic person, you can probably be really good at the big expressions of love. But where I really struggle is like the daily simple expressions to my wife of how much I love her. Like, I can get really caught up. I'm a really driven person, and so I can be doing all the things. And she goes, hey, I'm still here. You know that, right? And I think as Christians, listen, if I'm honest with you, we can get really good at the big expressions, coming to church and gathering together and doing all the things. But then I want to challenge you on the other side of it. How good are you at the simple expressions of the love of Jesus to other people? The subtlety moments that people go, what's different about you? Because we can all give away a bunch of food and do all the things, but then people are like, well, show it to me in your daily walk. So that's what Jesus is addressing in John chapter 13. A little bit of background before you dive in. Like Jesus' kind of his farewell discourse. This is kind of what scholars would say is kind of his last words to the disciples before he's killed. And in this moment, here's what we see. We see Jesus kind of telling his people, like, this is what you should do and who you should become. We see him wash all of the disciples' feet, right? This idea of servanthood around him. And then he talks about how he's about to be betrayed and somebody's going to betray him and turn him over to me. And they're all like, who is it? Who is it? And then Judas gets up and leaves. And it's on the heels of Judas getting up and leaving that Jesus makes this statement. In John chapter 13, verse 34. He says, so now I'm giving you a new commandment. Love each other. Just as I have loved you, you should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples. Now, this is fascinating. Why? Like, I'm going to drill in for just a few minutes this morning onto why this is monumentally a shift for all of us, even today. Because while it is an old commandment, maybe even if you're not a believer in the room and you're just like kind of exploring faith, you've probably heard this principle taught somewhere, right? Love other people like you love themselves. It became kind of like a corporate global thing. It's not like it's a new commandment. So what's new about it? What's new about it is what we're going to talk about today. He makes this statement before he says love one another. What does he say? He says, just as I have loved you. So while it is kind of an old commandment, he's giving a new context to it. Hey, I've loved you in a way that I expect you to love other people. So it's not just like, hey, go love. It's like, hey, do what I did, which is sacrifice, which is serve, which is display humility, which is to come alongside people in their hard moments and their hardships. That's what Jesus now, the expectation has shifted. And why? Because context drives that expectation. If I just looked at you and said, hey, love the person next to you, go, yeah, all right. If I go, hey, love the person next to you the way that Jesus loved you, ooh. I put an extra weight on your shoulders right there. That's the purpose of what Jesus is saying here. The same way that I'm loving you, love others. I wrestled from the time I was 5 until I graduated high school, and I had an opportunity to wrestle in college, but I was tired of cutting weight, and I knew I wasn't going to be an All-American. I wasn't that good, so I was like, what's the point? I'm tired of it, so I stopped. But my senior year, my coach decided that he was going to put me out into a different weight class during one of our matches. And he came to me and said, Chris, I need you to do this, man. Go out there, like, do your best against this guy. You really need to win this match. And I go, you got it, coach. So I go out there, and I do my thing, and this guy beats the tar out of me. I mean, not even close. Literally cracked my sternum in that match. It was incredible. I come back, I said, Coach, you told me I could win. He goes, I never told you you could win. I said, go out there and do your best. We need you to win. But I knew you were, that dude's a two-time state champion. I knew he was going to beat the tar out of you. I go, well, that would have been great context to know before I went out there and got demolished. She goes, no, you would have been scared. You didn't wrestle scared. You wrestled thinking you could win now. Why? Because context shifts the expectation. In that moment, when I walked out on the mat, all I thought was, I got to beat this guy. When I came off the mat, I go, what just happened to my life? And he helped, again, build context for me. Why do I say that? Because Jesus is now shifting the game. Don't just love people, but I need you to love people the way that I am loving you. Tim Keller has a great quote about this. He says it this way. When the world sees, you're doing great. When the world sees Christians loving each other, when they see racial barriers cross, when they see economic barriers cross, when they see people who have nothing in common except Jesus treating each other like family, then they know, look at that word, that something supernatural is happening. The world is looking, those who are not believers in Jesus are looking and going, what's different about you? What makes you different from me? What is it that changes between being here and going into your job tomorrow morning? Are you loving people well? Are you embracing? Are you coming alongside of them the way Jesus did? Or are you just like the world on Monday through Saturday, and you come in here and you worship and you leave? Maybe you go to your small group and you're a good Christian, but then like you leave and you're like, ah. And what Jesus is asking us to do is not just on those special days, but every day to love as he loved, to sacrifice as he sacrificed, to serve as he served, to be humble as he was humble. And so it's a challenge for us. But that love, and I love that. If you guys, for me, like I don't want to ever just have a church. And I know Pastor Shay and I talked about this yesterday when we were having lunch together. My heartbeat for the church is not that you come in and just receive the word, but I also want to push you to read the word, like to learn how to read it. If you're like, I don't know, I don't understand it well, let me give you one really big attribute of how do you know how to read the word well. Look for the things that are repeated. The things that are repeated are important. That's true of all literature at the end of the day, but really in Scripture, look at what's repeated. 4 times in this passage, the word love is repeated, right? Love one another, just as I've loved you, love each other. That's how they're going to know that you're my disciples if you love each other. So 4 times, Jesus says this in 2 sentences. Now, why? This word love that he uses is this idea of ongoing love, like keep on loving them. Like it's perpetual. Now, imagine if I just proposed to my wife and then never displayed love to her again. You go, well, that's stupid, Chris. Why would you do that? But hold up. Just hang with me for a second. Some of us have given our lives to Christ. Maybe we got baptized, and we left the church, and nothing's changed. We haven't begun pursuing Jesus. We haven't actually started reading our word or praying or even figuring out how to do that. Well, I don't know how to do that. Get in a life group and figure it out. But if we separate ourselves, isolate ourselves, put ourselves in the corner, and then we go like, I don't know why I'm not growing in my faith. I don't know why I don't understand more. I don't know why I'm not growing. We have to put ourselves in positions to grow. Imagine a relationship and how silly that would be if all I did was propose, we got married, and I was like, cool, see you in 50 years when we die. I had to constantly pursue my wife and my children so that they know that I love them, so they know that I care for them. Same is true of us. We're not just called to a moment in time. We're called to a pursuit. We're called to a journey. We're called to be shifted and changed. Think about Jesus and his experience with the disciples. What Jesus did not do is go, I can't wait to high five you, hug you, love you, hang out, let's play some video games. That was part of what Jesus did outside of the video games. They probably played games together. They did all those things together. They lived life together. But what Jesus also did was rebuke them, correct them, teach them, invest in them, pour into their lives, make sure they felt loved and appreciated, called out their giftings. He was vulnerable in front of them. He shared his life with them. He wept with them. He wept in front of them. There were these moments where Jesus didn't just say, I love you, but he genuinely got into their lives and said, I look at you, and this is one of my favorite phrases, I love you where you are, but I love you too much to leave you there. I love you where you are, but man, I love you way too much to leave you there. One of the worst yearbook quotes of all time is this: I hope you never change. How awful are you to somebody? Could you imagine? Listen, y'all, 17-year-old Chris was the worst. The person who wrote in my yearbook, I hope you never change, hated me. No way, I hope you change now. I hope tomorrow you're different. It's probably what somebody should have wrote in my yearbook. I was terrible. But that idea, man, I hope nothing about you ever changes, is crazy. We have to change every single day sometimes. Sometimes it's corrective measures. I mean, if you have kids, you know. Whew, Jesus, take the wheel sometimes. You know what I'm talking about? I pray often, Lord, you fix them or I will, and they're going to meet you if I fix them, so fix them. I love all 3 of my kids. They do know I do. I think they know. I don't know. I do love you guys. But here's what I know, right? Man, at the end of the day, you look at that coworker, we have the same expression, Jesus, fix them. Maybe God put them in your lives for you to invest in them. Maybe God put them in your lives for you to be the one who comes alongside of them and helps them see the things they don't see. Perhaps God put that super annoying person near you for a reason. Oftentimes, we can get frustrated with the people in our lives who don't quite live up to the expectations that we have of them. But perhaps we have to take a step back and pray differently. God, why did you put this person in my life? God, show me what I'm not seeing. help me to see the way that you see them. And when we begin to pray that way, when we begin to soften our hearts towards them, here's what I think is going to happen. I think we'll begin to see the things that maybe we didn't see before that. And we'll begin to see the ways that maybe they're like us and that God's really calling us to help shift and change their lives. There are students in my student ministry all across the years. I look at them and I go, I love them because they're me. They're annoying as all get out. But right now, I see myself. I see 17-year-old Chris and that 17-year-old boy. I have a student pastor that I'm investing in. We talk every single week. And he is the worst. But do you know what he is? He's me at 24 years old. And I go, I wish I had somebody when I was 24 that could call out my stuff and get me right. Help me understand why doing that isn't okay. We need those people in our lives. And people that are around you, listen, your sphere of influence is around you for a reason. You think God makes mistakes? Absolutely not. You think he accidentally put that person in that cubicle next to you? Nope. You think you're on the assembly line next to that person by like random chance? Absolutely not. God is not a God of accident. He's a God of purpose. So let's begin to ask the question, God, what are you up to? Because I don't like it sometimes. Now, like I said, this is not a new commandment that Jesus is displaying. He's adding weight to it because they would all know the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, this is very commonplace. Deuteronomy 6 says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, right? So we see that in Deuteronomy 6. Leviticus 19 says it this way. It says to love your neighbor as yourself. I know it's going to come up there in a second. But here's what we know, is that the love for others that we're called to do leads to discipleship. Our love for others leads to, now that's an ongoing process. Remember, discipleship isn't a moment in time. If you don't know what discipleship is, and that's a big word here at the end, right? This is how they're going to know you're my disciples. What is a disciple? A disciple in that time followed so closely to their rabbi, they would do exactly what they did. They would become exactly who their rabbi was. They would model it from the top to the bottom. And so we have to understand that what Jesus is calling us to do, how they're going to know that you're me? Easy. Do the things I do. Paul so boldly tells us in 1 Corinthians 10, imitate me as I imitate Christ. So for us, here's what we have to understand. This is what Jesus is calling us to make people look more like him. And so, with that in mind, that's why I said Leviticus 19. Let's go there really quick. It just says, do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against a fellow Israelite, but what? Love your neighbor as yourself. So what is different is that Jesus is no longer laying out a philosophical command. He is now saying, do what I do. He's giving you practical application. He's showing you exactly what you are called to do and who you're called to be. As I've loved you, love other people. This is how the world is going to know if you love as I have loved. That's the calling that he's placed on us. D.A. Carson has a quote that says this. I think it's just so powerful. The new command is simple enough for a toddler to memorize and appreciate, and profound enough that the most mature believers are repeatedly embarrassed at how poorly they comprehend it and put it into practice. I mean, think about it. I can go back there today and teach your kids to love God and to love other people. I could teach them this verse and they could memorize it and go like, hey, mommy and daddy, like I'm going to love like Jesus loves. That's how simple this command is. But how hard it is to actually put it into practice. Ooh, that's the weight of the command. It's no longer, I don't know what that looks like. Oh, no, hold up now. Read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You'll see what it looks like. Read the book of Acts. You'll see what it looks like. Jesus gives us practical examples day after day, and sometimes we can get lost in thinking it's the buildings or the attendance or it's our giving. Look how generous we are. Or it's these supernatural miracles that we see, right? That's how they're going to know that Jesus is here, but that's not what he says. How does he say that they're going to know? By how you love one another. That's what he says. Your proof is there. Think about John 21. At the end of the book of John, Jesus is meeting with Peter on the shore. And he asks him a question. Peter, do you love me? And Peter says, of course I love you. And what does Jesus say back? Build a big building. No, hold on, sorry. Do lots of miracles. No. Give lots of stuff away. No. What Jesus says, if you truly love me, Peter, feed my sheep. Be a shepherd. Love them well. Correct them when needed. Bring them back when they've run away. If you love me, Peter, feed my sheep. See how Jesus consistently tries to give us the blueprint? And what the world is going to do is they're going to look at you and look at I and go, does Reach Church love me well? Not does Reach Church do miraculous things. Not does Reach Church have a cool building. Not does Reach Church, no. What they're going to look at is, does Reach Church love me? Do they care about me? Do they care about my family? And what shifts churches from growth to non-growth is when we begin to only love us and not love the world. Amen. It's kind of antithetical to your name, right? Not reaching neck, I'm reaching out. Become a body of believers that goes, hey, we're not just for Blair, we're for the world, but we're going to start in Blair and we're going to change the whole community. There's not a single person in Blair who's not going to know that we don't love them deeply. Imagine if you walked in any grocery store in Blair and they were like, man, that Reach Church, man. I mean, I don't go there, but man, they love me. I know they do because they display it. Man, what a challenge for us as a church. What a challenge for us as a community of believers to go, is that the love that we're displaying to others? Do they feel that? That's how you prove who you are. I was not a great kid. I told you guys that. 17 years old, I took my dad's convertible. We went out and got Italianized with a couple of my buddies. My dad's convertible was a little red Mustang. So me and two of my buddies went and got Italianized. While we were there, there's a construction site there. And my buddy was like, man, how cool would it be to put a construction sign in your room? You know what I mean? I was like, man, that'd be awesome. So we stole a construction sign. It's not legal to do. Threw it in the back of a Mustang, and we started driving down the road. About halfway down the road, we panicked and threw the sign out. We were like, I don't think this is legal. We threw the sign on the side of the road. We drove to my buddy's house. We were playing Halo, having the time of our lives, 17 years old. It was incredible. And I remember getting a call. Mom said, you need to come home now. I go, yeah, I'm going to finish this game. She goes, no, you're going to leave now. And I go, okay. So I drive home. I get to my house. My parents load me into their car, and they take me to the police station. That's fun. I have a lot of police stories. The longer we get to know each other, you'll find out. We'll find out. She didn't do a background check. You know what I mean? So, no. I'm just kidding. Nothing should still be on my record. Anyways, no. Paid off some good guys along the way. I get to the police station. I go back into the interrogation room. It's me and my parents and this cop. And he goes, hey, what you been up to today? And I go, not much, just hanging out. Got some Italianized. Went to my buddy's house. Played Halo. He goes, you steal any signs today? I go, doesn't sound familiar. Whoopsies. He goes, I think you did. My dad's a tax accountant. The license plate on his Mustang is just O, which is Otis, O, Taxman. Pretty easy to remember. You don't even have to be that smart. You'd be like, oh yeah, just O, Taxman. No numbers, no nothing, just. He goes, you were driving a car, O, Taxman? I go, yeah, I was driving that. He goes, yeah, we have a couple witnesses. Saw you put that sign in the back of the Mustang, drive off. I go, not ringing a bell. He goes, I'll tell you what. He goes, I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you 60 minutes. And in 60 minutes, if that sign's not back where it's supposed to be, then I'm going to roll up with my lights on, and I'm going to put you in the back of the car, and you're going to get charged with a crime. And I go, well, I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound fun today. So I texted my buddies immediately, and I was like, you need to go get the sign, put it back immediately. Cops have me. And they did. I didn't go to jail, thank God. But here's the thing. They knew who I was based on the proof of what they saw. They had witnesses. They had camera footage. They could have easily charged me if they wanted to. They knew who I was based on what I did. What Jesus is calling us is the proof for us is in what we do, the actions we display, the love that we show other people. Our horizontal love is inseparable from our vertical love. Our horizontal love is inseparable from our vertical love. Our vertical love actually drives our horizontal love. Our love for God, this is what I tell married couples all the time. You're like, hey, we're struggling to connect each other. I say, marriage is the best pyramid scheme that's ever been created. And I'll tell you why. You ready? At the pinnacle of your marriage should always be a love for God. And individually, you are pursuing God. And there's this beautiful picture of like you here, and you're chasing to the top after God, not each other. But here's what happens. When you pursue God in your marriage, you naturally want to pursue one another. So in those moments of struggle and tension between each other, here's what's really beautiful. You're struggling together to get to the same purpose, which is to become more like Jesus. And when you do that, you serve each other better, you sacrifice more, you love each other more. All those pieces come together. And so what I challenge people to do all the time is simple. Who are you pursuing? At the end of it all, who are you chasing after? What are you chasing after? Some of us just think if we just make a few more dollars, if we just do a few more things, maybe then finally our marriage will stop being so tension-filled. And I'm gonna be honest, like, we've been in a season where we just wait for that next check to come to pay the bills, and guess what didn't get us through? Like anxiety, like fighting with one another. What got us through is us going, God, we don't know. We don't know where that money's coming from, but we're trusting you right now. We're believing that you're going to show up because you have before and you will again. I just need to remember, like our lives are proof of the presence of God to the world. That's what they are. All of our lives are proof of the presence of God into the world. I need us to remember something. Moses wasn't the only one who was able to turn the staff into a snake. So the reason why I say like miraculous things don't change the world, those things are all great. But remember, when Moses in Exodus 7 shows up before Pharaoh and he throws his staff down and it becomes a snake, and the sorcerers in the room throw their staffs down and they all become snakes too. See, the enemy can equally pull off miraculous things, but you know what he can't do? Display the love of Jesus to the world. And that is the calling of the church, not the calling of anybody else. That's what we are called to do and who we are called to be. I'll give you an example as we kind of wrap up. I work at Chick-fil-A on the daily right now as we're kind of navigating, as Shay calls this large small group. We have about 70 plus people in our small group. Your small group shouldn't be that big. Just so you guys know, with 33 kids and bunch, it's fine. We're all doing great. And I work at Chick-fil-A during the day. Service as front of house director. So I just help make sure that your guest experience is the best it can possibly be. We had this lady come through. We just opened. It's a brand new store, opened in September. We had this lady come through the first week. We got her order so wrong. It was so bad. But she came in just hot, like just yelling at us, and it was fun. And I said, ma'am, I'm so sorry. I want to make it right. Let's make sure your food is right. She came in the next week, ordered the same exact thing, and guess what? We got it wrong again. So if she comes in again, can you just get my order right? I go, yes, ma'am. I'm going to make sure it's right. I get it right. Give it back to her. I said, ma'am, I'm so sorry. Look, we're gonna nail this for you. I promise. Like, it is a difficult order. It is some complicated issues, but like, we should get it right. Third time she comes in, we get it wrong again. And I just go like, Lord, be with our team. Help them to stop being so stupid right now and just to take the order correctly. I walk out of the car. I said, ma'am, I'm so sorry. Her name is Sheila. I said, Miss Sheila, I am so sorry. We got this wrong again. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk back in. I'm going to get your food right. And tomorrow when you come, I'm going to make sure all your food is free. Like, it's going to be on us. And she said, thank you so much for fixing it. I just need you guys to get it right. Like, your team is super nice, but I just can't get this right. I go, nope, that's not okay. Like, we should get it right every time. There's no reason for us to get it wrong. She said, thank you. She said, you don't understand this because you don't know me, but my husband is in the hospital right now fighting cancer. And all he asks for is a chicken biscuit every day. He asked for somebody just to bring him, but he can't eat fried chicken anymore, so it has to be grilled chicken. And that's where the complication, the order came in. They didn't know how to ring it up, and it kept getting wrong, kept getting wrong. I said, I just looked back at her, and I didn't talk about the food at all. I said, Miss Sheila, I need you to know something. I'm really sorry you're going through that battle right now, but man, like, I want you to know I'm going to pray for you and your husband. I'm praying for your 2 kids you bring in every single day. That battle is It's an exhausting one. And the last thing you should be thinking about is whether or not your biscuit is right or not. So I make a promise to you that before you leave our window every day, your order will be 100% right. I make that commitment to you right now. And from that day forward, every day, it's been correct. And I walked into our team and I told them, because they were like, man, Angry Sheila's back. She was angry. And I walked in and I told our team, this is the opportunity for us. Again, I'm in a corporate marketplace job. I said, hey, listen, there's a lot behind every smile and every angry face that comes through these doors. It's not about chicken. They're never mad about chicken. Something else is happening in their lives that triggered them to be in this space, but it's not about the chicken. Our job as guest customer service style people is to figure out what's going on and love them through it. So don't ever get rattled. They're not mad at you. Something else is happening. And I told them Sheila's story. Her husband's battling cancer. And every day from there forward, we got our order right. Her husband got out of the hospital at the beginning of October. Fortunately, right before Thanksgiving, went right back into the hospital. Ended up passing away 2 weeks later. Do you know who Sheila called? Our store. She called and she asked for me. She said, hey, I just want to let Chris know my husband passed. All I know her is for the 5 minutes that she comes through our store to order chicken. And what it also spurred on that I didn't even know about was we had other team members who felt led to walk out and just go pray for her at random points throughout her visits during that time. You can shift and change an entire area just by your faithfulness to do the things that God calls you to do. And Sheila forever will be different. Her 2 kids will forever be different. We provided all the food for the funeral. We made sure that she was taken care of. She still comes through every day. Hey, Miss Sheila. Hey, Chris. Get my order right today. I will, Miss Sheila. I will. It's not about perfection. It's about that pursuit. Listen, there's a lot of people who are hurting and broken. We've all experienced pain in our lives. The only way we got through that pain was the hope on the other side of it. And sometimes that hope comes through us. That's the call of the church. To sit with those who are hurting and broken, to weep with those who weep, to rejoice with those who rejoice. That's the call of the church. Called to love first. And when we're seeking after God, he displays the opportunities we have to do that. For some of us, we're called to go help people overcome those battles and those hurts. For some of us, we need to find somebody today and let them walk with us through the pain. So wherever you're sitting at today, I hope that today, before you ever leave these doors, that you experience and feel the love of Jesus. That's what I hope. Because man, he loves you so much. If you've never felt it before, I'm so sorry. But I promise you, there's a God who deeply loves you. Deeply loves you. Let me pray for us. Jesus, we are so grateful for our time. We're thankful for your faithfulness in our lives. We're thankful for, God, how you have displayed yourself to us. Thank you for the sacrifice of Jesus. Man, what an incredible privilege we have to be able to sit in a room like this and worship you. So I pray, God, as we sing this last song, will our worship be different? Will we worship a God who deeply loves us differently today because we are overwhelmed by the deep love that you've displayed towards us? That even while we were still separated from you, you sent Jesus to die for us, to sacrifice on our behalf. Thank you for the call you've placed on our lives, God. We love you. We thank you for all that you've done. In your name we ask all these things. Amen.